Good morning. Today's the 8th of January 2024, new week and a new plan for today. So I sent a video this morning because I didn't think I'd be here for 2 o'clock, and I was watching for an area which is now broken. It came back and retested that area. So I was watching for the breakout of this candle, and what I've really got my eye on is, let's just find my pen, what I've really got my eye on is the break over this 50 moving average, and that's the area I was watching at 47.35 area, and we've kind of gone past there now. So what I'm looking for today is I'm going to be looking for try and find a continuation of this uptrend, and we've got this area to watch for. So I'm watching the close, or the where was the close on? So we're over Friday's close now, which is there. Yes, we've broken above Friday's close. So I'm going to be waiting for a bit of a pullback. May have missed it, this bit here. This is what I was really waiting for. Come back, pull back in for an entry there to continue to trend up. That was my plan from about 3-4 hours ago when I posted my video. But I'm still keeping an eye on it. We've got this indecision candle on volume as well, or pre-market volume, and we're not sure where we're going to be with this one. So we're right at the area we're watching. So my plan for today is I'm going to wait for a proper break and retest of 47.37 for the long. We've got two targets. First target is 47.44. And then we've got the point of control, which is 47.48, 47.50 area. And if we've got a runner, then we've got a couple of higher targets we can achieve as well. High of yesterday, it will be one of those high of Friday will be one of those targets. So that's my first long watch for today. It's a break and retest of this 50. We're coming right into it right now. So this is the area. We're above all the moving averages as well, above the VWAP. We're above Friday's close there, and we're also above the pre-market highs as well, so apart by excluding this indecision. So we really need to break out over 47.37 for the push up. That's what I'm watching for. It's near to where we are now. When I spoke about this earlier, we were about here, I believe, and we were quite, at the time it was a higher probability play, but where we're quite close to it now, it's a higher risk play. And we had this indecision here, and we've got this top and tail candle now as well. We'll see what the market brings. So if we do come back down to maybe the VWAP or the moving averages, that could be a way for entry with confirmation. Next bounce area is going to be around Friday's lows, which is 47.20 area. So we're looking for a higher risk bounce around that area, which is 47.20 exactly. So we're watching for a bounce. We come back down to here, I'll be looking for a bounce, and then we could also be playing this trend line and this area of demand. So the next area will be 47.08 for a bounce. So these are my bounce ideas, waiting for the pullback. For rejections, we've got the pre-market, post-market high. I don't really like that for rejection. We could use that as a higher risk rejection area, but I still quite fancy the break and retest of that area. If we're long from here, then I want to be holding a runner past 47.44. But definitely there's a rejection area up here in this area. We've got this area of supply. Let's zoom out a bit and see where we are. Yeah, I quite like this area for sure. So 47.66 is a decent area to look for a reject, and that's where we rejected off that trend line. We tried it there, and we poked through and we've rejected, and it was originally the floor or support at one point. So what was the floor is now the ceiling. So if we come back up to here, I'll be looking for a rejection. Trend wise, we are in an hourly downtrend. However, we didn't quite make it to the bottom of this trend, lower trend line, and we're looking more bullish as we're breaking out through this trend line. So that's why I quite like the pullback to here for a second go at the push up. So recap the rejections. 47.66 rejection, and maybe around the 200 area, or 47.97, 4800. That's a psychological number for rejection. Last time we were there, we bounced off of it, and then we saw a big rejection. We've been going down since. So that's my reject areas, and my bounce areas are going to be around here, 47.40 area, 47.20, and potentially 47.100 and 47.10, these areas. Not saying all those areas will come into play, but they're ideas. And as you can see, we had this, we filled the gap. So as we talked about this void a few times, and we did fill it. I had a limit order around here waiting. I didn't quite get filled on where I wanted to get filled on Friday, excuse me. But I did get filled on the break and retest of the pre-market high. Hence why I'm watching something similar today. But I really wanted to get back down to this area of demand, and we did make it in there. Maybe I shouldn't be so picky on my entries, but 4700 didn't quite get to. What was the low of that candle? That was 4702, so it didn't trigger my alert. In fact, my alert's moved since then. I'm going to put it back up to 4700. So if we hit my alert, then I'll be interested in taking a long play if we get back down to that area. And potentially, now we've broken out of this trend line, we could be looking to come into that area there for the bounce off the trend line. And if we take another trend line, as if by magic, potentially we got that area there. It came in, rejected it, bounced off there, rejected it. So I'll keep that out for reference for now, but we may make that invalid. Maybe just having a bit of a rest. And this is potentially an hourly RBI forming as well. So the break above that area with the stop there, if you're looking to take it on the hourly chart. Okay, so that's MES or ES. Let's quickly look at SPY. Okay, we've got this potential left shoulder, head, right shoulder, whether you want to say the right shoulder ends there, or we've got a bigger right shoulder, and we've got a defined neckline. Similar to the ES, probably looking for the break and retest of the 50 moving average again. And go back to ES. Hopefully I mentioned that as well. I was watching for the breakout of the 50 this morning, and we did break out, and now we seem to be rejecting the 50. So the red line is my 50 moving average. The reason I like the break and retest because it's been quite significant. We were trailing the 50 moving average there, and then we finally broke down through it. You can see another 50 moving average caught up with the price. We broke through, then we came back and retested the 50 again. So it's shown it's quite important at that point. Then we came back up, retested the 50 again, and then we retested the 50 again there before we eventually broke out, came back down, and we retested the 50 there, retested it again there today in the pre-market, and looks like we're retesting it again now. We did actually, we just about closed over that 50, but we see what this candle hasn't closed yet, but it may close below the 50, and that could be the test and rejection of the 50 to confirm, to carry on with this downtrend we're in on the hourly. So that's why I quite like watching the 50, because it's been quite significant over the last few weeks. So SPY, same as ES then, so I'm waiting for it to, I want it to close over the 50, break the highs of the pre-market, and we've got the close on Friday, which would be that candle there. So we're right at the close right now, so, and looks like it's just bounced off of Friday's close. So that's an area to watch for, a possible buy, I was about to say, but it looks like we've already bounced. And then we've got this area here for a higher risk bounce, 466 to 467. Probably around 466.61 to 466, so you've got 50 cents off a stop area, and for a potential bounce, because we could just be doing this today, and then the 50 could be starting to level out before we finally break it and push up. And then rejection wise, we've got 470 and 471 as a rejection. 471 looks a bit better because we got this pivot there, tested it there, tested it again there. So 471 as a potential. Let's just put my level in. As a potential reject or a target if you're long. And any other targets? If you're long, you could target 470. I think that's it really. SPY, yeah, very similar. The 200 is curving over, the 50 is starting to, it's starting to possibly start to curve in the upwards position, so it's curved over on decline. That's maybe starting to curve back over again, so we may see a day of just sideways action, so be wary on that. There's no major news today other than Fed speaking at 12:30, so be wary of that. Let's look at Qs. Slightly better pattern here. Shoulder, head, right shoulder, neckline is exactly where we are right now. 50 moving average, and look at this. This is a RBI as well. So the breakout, maybe the break and retest as 50 move will be a good play. I'm going to put an alert in there to keep an eye on that. If it breaks through it, I'll be probably waiting for a pullback, and I'll probably buy it on the Nasdaq, which will probably look very similar. It does look very similar. So if you want to be a higher risk play, will be the breakout of that RBI. Higher, if you want to be a bit more conservative, then the break and retest of that RBI are two potential areas to watch for. So let's just put my level in there and an alert. Okay, so I'll keep an eye on that, and also that will break that pivot with a potential target of 16,562. So the entry would be 16,500. Look at that nice round number as well, so psychological number. So I prefer the break and pullback, but could possibly get in with a very small order for the breakout and then add to it on the pullback. That's it really, rejection wise. 16,566 to probably 16,583 has a rejection area, that area there, and then nothing until we get back up to here, and it's 16,17, that's the lows. So again, we're in a downtrend, putting in a series of lower highs and lower lows, and potentially seeing a change of trend here. Significant will be this level 16,762, so that's the area to watch for if we're going to change trend. Then probably if we come back, retest and push up, then we're back in an uptrend, but we're going to be in a downtrend until we get over this 200 moving average. So for rejection, probably only at this place, I would say 16,762.50 for a reject, and by the time we get up to there, the 200 moving average may have just got down to that point as well, adding to that rejection area. Oil has a bit of a sell-off. In an uptrend still, putting in that high, that low. We haven't quite seen what happens here. Maybe going sideways for a bit, either breakout, or it may come back down and retest these areas. Can't see a play at the moment on oil. The only place to consider is 70. Again, it's a round number, psychological number. Coming to it here, was that about 70 as well? 64. Yeah, this area here. So let's just mark that up. That's a potential bounce area. Poke through is an area of supply as well. Big demand area, big demand area. mark that up. So that area to watch for a bounce. Set that to demand. And then obviously I still quite like this area back down there for a double bottom, which is 68.04 to 67.20, but we've got this entire area of demand which goes back a long time, back to August, where we maintained that area. I think that's a daily supply, daily demand area, because it doesn't quite line up. But this area, I can refine it when we get closer to the time, when we get closer down there. That's an area to watch for. And I said we couldn't break out that area on Friday. It did try, it looked like it was squeezing out, and then it just rejected down. But if you caught that, that was a great trade down. Finally, we've got gold. I'll keep an eye on oil for a bit. There's nothing there I can see at the moment. If I had to find a rejection, considering we're so far away from the moving averages, if it can come back up to here, $72.62 is a potential rejection area up to here, below all the moving averages, and with a stop there, and that's above all the averages. And if it gets above the averages, you probably want to get out there anyway. But you've got that area, and we've got the point of control. Looking at those 4 bars, if you take 2 bars either side of the point of control, it gives you quite a wide area of support and resistance. And if you look at that, rejection there, it came in within 2 bars of the point of control and rejected. So you know that area is of significance. Let's just draw it in. It's roughly 2 bars, and if we go back and look at the areas, you can see resistance, or meant support, became resistance, carried on resistance, still resistance, tried to break it, couldn't quite break the resistance, and broke down and back into the resistance of the point of control. And look at that, the pullback was right almost into the point of control in that area, that bar. So if you made the point of control the same width as that bar, it would have touched it. And that's it. Let's look at gold quickly. How do we have time? We've got 12 minutes before the market opens. Okay, so gold's now selling off as well. We're beyond that bounce there. Yeah, I don't really like. We're in this gap now. Get rid of that. I think the next area to watch for will be around about there, and what I'm looking for is bottoms of candles. It's quite soon. I'll refine it when I get closer. Tops of candles, bottoms of candles, tops of candles, bottoms, and a top. So that is the next area to watch for a bounce. We've also got this point of control as well. So this area is the point of control. So we may find it hard to get through that area, but keep an eye on that. So 2000 psychological number as well, so probably that might be a better area to put an alert in. I will put an alert in actually. If we can get down to 2002, I want to be notified so I can keep an eye on that. And then rejection wise, we've broken this area, so if we can come back up, retest the 50 or this area here, then we could be looking for a short entry back down. That's it really for gold. I want to look at Bitcoin before we go anywhere. This is how it is. Look at the daily. Look at that. When I saw this bar come in, I thought Bitcoin was over. I was getting ready to get out. I've got a little bit of Bitcoin, not a great deal, but we are looking like we're squeezing up a bit. Saw this big volume come in, and I had my alert set just below that pivot there, and if we got below that and we closed below the 50, I was probably going to take my profits on Bitcoin. But we're still pushing up. Maybe we're going to fill this and then break out. There's news pending for an ETF. news today as well, quite a bit of news on it. I don't know what the latest is, I'm not really following it, I'm just watching. I don't really follow the news, I just watch the chart and play the technicals, and that's what I'm seeing right now. I saw this fake breakdown, a bounce off the 50, and I had original stop around that area, and as we broke out, that's another nice area, just doing something similar as well, a couple of breakout areas. So I'm looking for another breakout above there. And then I've got some alerts, so let's go back. 4200, 42,000 I meant, is an alert which I've been keeping an eye on for a few days. Just want to know, not I'm going to do anything, I just want to be wary of getting down there. But I quite like, go back to the daily, we are on the daily, weekly. This area here is a potential target for some profit. 48, almost 48,000, and then 52,000 is where we saw the tops of these shoulders, left shoulder, right shoulder, and then obviously we had that head and the all-time highs. So it's something to keep an eye on. If we got news, then it may impact the Bitcoin a little bit, so I will be keeping an eye on it, but I don't trade the news, I just keep an eye on it. But that's a target. I may look to take a partial around that area, hold for that next area, but it's a long-term thing, and I don't have much. It's not much, but it's something to keep an eye on. It's more for fun really than anything. And I do have Ethereum and a few others as well, just small amounts. Again, more for fun and small amounts in case it goes mental in the future. Then, if we see it shoot up into the hundreds of thousands, then who knows what the future is going to bring. I'm just wondering whether I'm here, even though I think my average price is probably around here somewhere, probably a bit lower than that. But I'm just wondering whether if we zoom out another 10 years, what we saw there back in July 2021 is like where we are right now, and this just keeps going up. I'm thinking maybe lots of people might be missing out, thinking I should have taken the pullback when I had the opportunity. So, like I said, risky. If you're not prepared to lose money, then don't get into it. But looking at the weekly chart, you can see that's why I got in, because I was watching the chart, looking at technicals. I was watching this level and this level, came in, head and shoulders pattern into 1600, similar to where we are there, exactly there, and it acts as resistance. And so even though I had some up here, I was just averaging in. I have been for the last couple of years, just not much, just a little bit each month, and then averaging in there, bringing the average price further and further down. And obviously now bringing my average price further up as it's moving up with it. So, right, that's it. Thank you for watching. Let's have a quick look at MES before we go, see if there's any changes in the last few minutes. So when we last looked, it was putting in a bit of a topping tail. We're right down here. But now it's kind of changed a bit, putting in a bit of a pullback. So we decide what to do. If we break pre-market high, I'd be looking for a break and retest the pre-market high with a potential target of 47.44, 47.50, 47.66. Those are the areas to watch for. Okay, thank you for watching.